Daily Nuggets fan, boy, do we have a treat for you today. We have a special friend in the house, an author, a teacher, a father, and boy, a brother. He wears many hats. Joey, I'm so excited to have you with us here today on the Daily Nuggets platform to speak with us about the amazing things you have been doing, especially your books. You have 2 books written now. Wow. Last year, I know when you and I met, you only had 1 book, and since then you have your second one. So I'm all excited. I know our viewers are excited to learn all about your books and also to tell us the secret on writing. Maybe some of them would like to become writers one day. So Joey, let us begin with you on this. We have about 30 minutes for our interview. Can you tell us a little more about yourself, first of all? Tell us, who is Joey?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. Who I am, just a teacher. I wear many hats, like you said. I am a real estate investor in the US, where I have 3 companies for investing in real estate. I have 2 children. They are twins, 6 years old, and then I have another one on the way. Author, I have written 6 children's books, but 2 of them have been published. And
how old did you say your children are again, Joey?
6.
6, okay.
Lyric and Easton are 6 years old.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep going. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'm from the US, from New Orleans. Been in China for 12, 13 years almost, and most of that being here in Beijing. So just recently stepped down.
Do you speak Chinese, Joey? I've been here 9 years and I don't speak a lick of Chinese. Do you speak Chinese?
I don't. I speak baby Chinese and I can understand enough. I have
you can understand.
HSK2.
Lucky you. Lucky you. I don't speak Chinese. Would you believe, Joey, this summer I was in Los Angeles and I'm from the airport to my friend's house, my teacher friend who just got a job in California. Would you believe my Uber driver was Chinese? And then he noticed my phone number Chinese, and he started speaking some Chinese. I was like, oh, no. Tibudong. But anyway, so you are from New Orleans. What brought you to China, Joey?
Well, that's a long story. I was in Europe, living in Europe for a while, and robbed in Spain at the airport. A guy just snatched my passport, had all my cash in it, and took off running. I chased him down the airport. He threw it back.
You had the cash inside your passport?
Yeah, because I just arrived. Well, I'd been there for a while, but I just arrived in Spain and I was trying to open a bank account. So I had all of my cash with me to be able to open a bank account. He wound up taking a good 4,000 or 5,000 euro. So I decided it's time for me to pack it up and go somewhere where I heard a lot of good things. It was really easy to make money. So I decided I would come to China for a year, save up, replace the money that was lost, and return to Europe after a year.
Wow. So you lived in Spain. What city in Spain?
I lived in Valencia, but this happened in Barcelona when I was flying to, and it happened during
Barcelona, the Olympic city. How can the Olympic city leave such a tarnished image in your mind? Oh my God, that must have been horrible. Over coffee, you can someday maybe you can tell me all the details on how you actually recovered from that. Wow. So you came to China, and what is your role right now at school this year?
I am technically the science and technology coordinator and the grade 3 homeroom teacher. I'm also the VEX robotics coach, and I'm the head of the TV station. Oh, and
TV station?
The bilingual learning
as a
center.
TV station?
I started it 2 years ago at our school. But yeah.
At TV, the normal way we understand TV?
Yep, run by students.
Wow.
They have their own news channel and they run everything.
You definitely do wear many hats. Okay, so you are no longer an administrator. You wanted to go back to the classroom, right?
Right. 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, I stepped down from being principal of a kindergarten here, and I went back into the classroom, into primary. So for 3 years, I've been back in the classroom.
Wow. Okay, so tell us about this new book of yours, and then maybe we can also go back to the one that you wrote before. Yeah. What is
Sure.
the title of your new book?
Well, the new book is called Rainbow Apples.
Okay.
And while both of the books have my children as characters, the new book, this one is purely bilingual and they're not siblings. So the way that the books are set up, the first one, as we talked last year, it's about accepting who you are as an individual and all of your differences. And the new book is about accepting other people's individualities and accepting them and their differences. So it goes
Okay.
through a full lesson that I used to teach in school about
Okay.
being
Has
different.
this book been translated in Chinese?
It has. This one is fully bilingual, and there's even a Spanish section, but it's fully
And
bilingual
is
English
it,
and Chinese.
do you have a digital copy as well?
I do. On Amazon, actually, both books are available for free for Kindle users. And then, so you have the digital version there, the ebook.
Okay. So what inspired you, Joey, did you just wake up one day out of the blue and say, I'm gonna write children's books?
Sort of. It all started way back in, I want to say 2013. I
Mm-hmm.
just got here in China, and I'm a big guy. I'm 6'1", I'm a little heavy, and I'm hairy, something different than what the kids experience.
Nothing wrong with that. We still
No,
love you the way you are, Joey.
nice and cuddly. But the little kids kind of got scared of it. I'm a big guy towering over them, speaking a language they don't understand. Um,
Mm-hmm.
And so I started teaching. Oddly enough, Rainbow Apples was my first book, but it was the second one that was published. I started teaching a lesson about apples.
Ah, oh, I did not know that actually. Oh, okay. Yeah.
I started teaching a lesson about apples, and I brought a red apple, a yellow apple, and a green apple, and had the students compare them. Now these
Mm-hmm.
were 3, 4 year olds, and they were comparing apples. They looked different. Some of them were bigger, some of them were smaller, some of them had different shades. And then we cut them open, and we saw on the inside that they were all the same. They all had the same flesh on the inside. They all had the same number of seeds. And then we looked at where they came from, and they all came from the same trees. So that led us into looking at each other to notice that, oh, even the kids, even though they were all Chinese students, we had one who was Italian. So we compared each other and noticed that we all have two eyes, we all have one nose, we all have one mouth, two arms, two legs, hair. Some of us had long hair, some of us had short hair, but
Mm-hmm.
for the most part, everything was the same. So just because we have a little bit of differences doesn't mean we're different.
So did you incorporate that in your lesson?
That was a full lesson that I taught them, and we taught it for almost a month. It took almost a month to go through the full process of the lesson. And then I just took that lesson that I had and turned it into a book. And then I started telling the story as a book.
Wow. Did you share this idea with your administrators at the time or your colleagues, or was this just something, a project, it was just you in your incubator with your kids?
It was just me with the kids and I did some trainings on it where I used that book or that story lesson plan because it wasn't a book at the time. It really was just a story in my head. And I told it using training for other teachers on how they could incorporate learning to early childhood education, and
Okay,
then how
so
we could do games and activities around that.
okay. So Rainbow Apple is about accepting everyone else. And how would accepting yourself be? Can you elaborate more on that?
Yeah, so that's when Where'd the Color Go came in. So the original book, the one that was published
Yeah,
in
yes,
2019,
yes.
that one is about accepting yourself. So in this book, Where'd the Color Go, it's
Yeah.
learning your colors. It was also a lesson that I taught with my students where we would all talk about we woke up and all the color was gone. So we would blindfold each other and I would have them describe what they thought the room looked like. And then they would tell me, and everybody would say something different. Then I would have them describe each other. And that turned into a book where I originally had it as a teacher and students in the book.
Mm-hmm.
It took a long time to get out of my own head, really. So from
Yeah.
2014 until 2019 is when it was officially published. It took me that
Right
long,
before COVID.
right before November, actually. So right before. But I had the kids in 2018. So once they were born, I decided to turn the book from being about a teacher and his students to being about a parent and his children, because I have twins, and a boy and a girl. So while they're twins, they're very different. And it's okay for me. And I wanted them to learn that it's okay to be different, that they don't have to be like everyone else or like each other,
Mm-hmm.
because that's what everyone expects of twins. They expect them
Mm-hmm.
to be the same, and they are exact opposites. So you go through and you learn in this book that they wake up, the color's gone, they have to find magic crayons and bring the color back, and find some scary man that's in their house and solve a mystery, but in a fun way in
Ooh.
50 pages.
Wow, it's this as I'm listening to you, Joey, I'm like, wow, I guess we can take what's in the classroom and transform it into a textbook here. So what kind of advice would you give for to some of our young people that are thinking into like going into writing and so on, and they don't even know where to get started? I know you got the inspiration from your own class and so on. So try to give somebody out there, a
Um,
younger person,
yeah,
yeah, advice.
it, for me, it came from life experiences and from what I was actively going through at the time that I was writing. So that's where I got my ideas from. But I often teach a course now, where I just got back from this summer from volunteering, and I gave them a presentation at a science camp about AI and how they can utilize AI to do a lot of the writing. So I explained, it took me almost, 7 years to finish the book. But with them, in 10 minutes, I set a timer, and in 10 minutes, we had a full book ready. Now, of course, it needed to be illustrated, it needed to be tweaked, but all it was just brain dumping. Come up with an idea, put it in, come up with characters, put them in, and we wrote pretty decent books and made them bilingual using AI. So, really, right now is a perfect time for anyone who's interested in writing. Just have ChatGPT do the basic, and then you go in and you edit it and tweak it. It's the perfect place.
Is that acceptable? I mean, would you have to explain that you wrote it? Not you, but I'm saying a person wrote it with the help of Chat GPT. You have to write that, right?
You do have to put, if you're publishing on Amazon, you do have to put that it was AI assisted. I don't know how that actually works because I've not done that part. We
Yeah.
didn't publish any of the books that the kids wrote. It was just something to show them how easy it would be for them to get started, because it's just creating that foundation. But as long as they're not publishing directly from ChatGPT and they're taking it and making it their own, it's still their work.
Okay. So when you did that with the kids this summer, did you have like maybe you had like 10 kids, one person does chapter one, the other one chapter two, chapter three, and then you put everything together? Is that how that worked?
Well, we're doing children's books, picture books, so we only did 50 pages, so no chapters. We just it was a group of, I think, 30 kids and 40 kids. And I had, two of them tell me different characters they wanted to include, and someone else tell me a theme, someone else tell me the setting, someone else tell me the moral, and then the conflict. And then we went through each step of it, and somebody different built it so that all the kids had input on it. And we went through that process with them. And then we had a few of them proofread it as we were going.
Well, I know that when I attended that summer camp with you some 3 years ago, I think, you actually introduced me to AI, and I'm very, very grateful for that. Just about everything I do, I'm like, nowadays, I'm like, what did I do before that?
Right.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think you're the one that gave me the link to the Chinese version of AI. And so I gave it to one of my friend who is a pastor. Boy, she is very grateful for that. Thank you so much for that. And do you
Well,
do training, by the way, on AI? Do you?
I do some, but usually for, teacher oriented or student oriented. I've never done training for someone that wasn't in the teaching field, or that wasn't a student trying to improve on their, or
Mhm.
learn the basics even. of AI because I'm not really an expert, but I know I've been using it since as soon as it came out, and I
Yeah,
was looking into it
I mean, you don't have to be
even
an
before.
expert. From the little
Yeah,
that I learned from you, I'm doing so much now. Yeah.
right.
But I wanted to ask you, interestingly, you said that when you were in school, you were not good in math and English. How did that work? Look at you now, Joey.
I know,
Tell me,
right? I'm
tell me a
still
little
terrible
more
at math.
about that. Math, your English and math. Yeah.
English and math were my worst subjects. I loved history. Actually, I really loved history, and I liked science. But I had a terrible, terrible history teacher when I was in fourth grade. I remember going into class and every day, at first being excited that I was finally getting, just a main history class that was not
Mhm.
being taught in the homeroom, the early elementary setup. We were rotating classes and I was just deflated. She ruined history for me. I sat there that entire year and hated history. And that year, I decided that I was going to be a teacher so that I could make the opposite impact that she made on me. So that
In
I
fourth
could,
grade.
in fourth grade, I knew that I wanted to make other students love history and love school because I had one teacher who made me hate it.
Wow. So surprised how what we do as teachers affect our students
Yeah.
long term. Oh my God.
Same.
So, what about English? I mean, people are looking at you now. You a writer, an administrator, a teacher, and so you did not like English?
Oh, I was terrible with English. Even in school, when I was studying to be a teacher and I was taking the TEFL courses or just English 101, I hated it. I struggled. Could not get my mind wrapped around the who's, what's, where's, when, and why's. So we use the words we do. It
Mhm.
just made no sense to me. My mind didn't work that way. I struggled through it. Every time I went into the classroom to teach something, I made sure to study it hard and learn it again over and over. No matter how many times I taught about nouns, I made sure that I studied it over and over beforehand so that I didn't mess up. It was
Wow.
something that never
So,
stuck.
so let's go back to the rainbow apple. Can you read some quotes, or can you look at your favorite maybe page and read to us, please?
Sure. Let's see. There's
Hi, Jenny.
so
Well, Jenny.
again, here's the
Yeah,
apples, the
yeah, I
lessons.
can see that. Mhm.
Yeah, and it's bilingual, so both sides say the same thing. This is where the lesson came in, the end of it. Just because they look different on the outside doesn't mean they aren't apples. Same thing with people. Just because we look different on the outside doesn't mean we aren't people.
So,
And
for what age group is this? The book.
3 to 10. My 10-year-olds in school love it. Some of my 12-year-olds love it, but my 10-year-olds, they read these books every single day during morning time. We have morning reading time, and they
Wow.
always pick up my book. They don't, I mean, they read the other books too, but everyone in my class has access to copies of my books, and they love
And
them.
how many pages is this one?
They're both about 50 pages.
About 50 pages. I'm kind of
Yeah.
curious how you started with Rainbow Apple first. Why the delay? Why did you print the other one first? Yeah.
Rainbow Apples went through so many different iterations. The story was there, everything was there, but it started out being called Being Different. And then I felt that that was too on the nose, and I wanted to find a way to kind of hint to what's inside the book without giving it away. And so it is about different colored apples. And so really the title is what took the longest, what
Mhm.
delayed. But whenever the kids were born, the reason Where the Color Go was published first was because it changed to be about family instead of being about the classroom.
Ah,
And while Rainbow
okay.
Apples is still about family, it's about two little boys. One is American and one is Chinese. One is actually Indian American, Asian American still,
Okay.
Philippine American. And the other one is
Yeah.
Chinese. And they're scared of each other because they look so different. And their parents are concerned with how that looks. And the father comes down and he has that lesson, that apple lesson with him right there on the
Mhm.
playground, and they learn, and then they're approached by a little white girl and a little black girl that come up, and they go through the same fear and emotions and then acceptance.
And I noticed that you have been recognized on your writing or received some awards. Can you share a little more on that? Yeah.
Sure. I just actually won an award for Rainbow Apples. Oh, I'm sorry, for Where'd the Color Go? It is the 2024 Speak Up Talk Radio International Firebird Book Award for diversity for Where'd the Color Go?
Ah, okay. How important, Joey, is acceptance, recognition? Yeah, I mean, we do all these things. Even myself, I'm doing daily nuggets now. So,
Yeah.
how important, like even movie stars when they do their movies? Yeah, how important to you is this such things as awards, recognitions? How important?
The awards and recognition are important just in it helps get your name out there and show something. Somebody always wants to be reading an award-winning author. So it's a great thing to have. It's really fun to be able to now call yourself an award-winning author. And even if you're just nominated, that's great in itself. But it's not really necessary to have it. The books sell with or without it. Now they do get a little more attention whenever it is an award-winning book. And of course, we all know you want to be a New York Times bestseller, but you only get that by selling so many. So there are some that are really hard to get.
Yeah.
And there are others
So,
that are.
do you get the support back home in New Orleans on all these creations that you're doing? And if so, what kind of support?
I do actually. I just donated 50 books to 2 different libraries, and they are actually they had one each, and they were using them, and then they requested more, and they were going to buy them, and I was like, no, here, and I sent 50
Oh, that
copies to.
is kind of you. Wow.
And then I sent some to my
You should have let them pay you and
schools.
send the money to me.
I should have, right? But if they're getting it out, it's going to be in a public library. That's enough for me. And I also donated some to my nieces and nephews' schools. But I get orders daily, so I've had YouTube channels who have read them. There's copies of Where'd the Color Go in a castle in France, in a beautiful chateau, and it's there in their children's library and their nursery.
Ooh,
International schools here in Beijing and all around China, they're in their libraries. So I'm
wow.
I'm happy and lucky enough that I can put it out there, and I have the ability to be able to donate them to the
Wow.
libraries.
Well,
And
we
I
have,
just found a children's
yeah,
hospital in Memphis.
you
I'm
just found
sorry.
out what?
That there's a children's hospital in Memphis that has a free book vending machine, and I'm
Oh,
planning to send some books to them, some copies to them, so that they can put it in there.
that is so kind of you. That's how you get blessings, by blessing others. Well, at this
Well,
point,
we're
let me, Jenny, she's in the house. She's our brainchild for the virtual book tour that started last year, and we are continuing as on our second year this year. Jenny, why don't you jump in there and speak to Joey?
Hi, it's a bit noisy where I'm at right now, but I love your book. I love the concept behind it
thank you.
because even where we live now, there are so many disparities. And
Yes.
being black is not easy right now, being where we are. But I appreciate that you have this book out there to teach children that inclusivity is important. And so I really commend you for writing this, for having the courage to write it and to publish it, and that it's been used in different schools nationwide, both in China and internationally. So all the best, and thank you once more for coming along with us on this tour.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So Jenny, where are you? Are you at school?
I'm at, well, I've just moved to a new school in Jiangsu. I hope that they will order this book because my last school, I recommended it, but they didn't want it. Close-minded people, so to speak. But I hope that at this school, they will appreciate this book this time around.
I hope so.
So,
But as Jenny was saying, that at this time,
yeah,
especially not just in China but in the U.S., there's a lot of divisiveness, and we all need to learn to accept ourselves and each other. Like, there's nothing more important than acceptance. Then we can grow from
that
there. We've got to heal everything that's going on and fix what's all the
that is
chaos
so,
and division.
yeah. Yeah, Joey, you know what I would recommend? What I would love to see you do is like even like when you go back to the States, like you go to different schools and give speeches on because your message just says so much. And if you can get the chance to, I want to see you one day, like in a high school, in several high school auditorium, speaking to those young kids, because this is a very important message.
Yes, it would be
Yeah,
very,
like
very nice.
have you ever thought about that?
I have, but it would have to wait until I go back to the US. I don't think that kind of promotional tour would really work here. I don't know how that would work here. It might. I don't know. A book tour, an actual live book tour in China, that'd be fun. But going to the US and teaching it and having that, that is part of the goal. Rainbow Apples right now is bilingual English and Chinese, but there's another version of it that hasn't been released yet where the main characters are switched and it's English and Spanish. So it's
Oh,
and the main characters change from being two Asian boys to being the black girl and the white girl. So you see the opposite side of the story. There's the four characters, and you'll see the girl's side in the other book, in the other version.
okay. So this is the motivation is from your living in Spain, correct?
Well, the motivation really was being here in China and me experiencing being different for the first time and seeing it in a whole new eye, with whole new eyes, and seeing how, you know, whenever you, a long time ago when you first come to China, being different at all was not really a good thing. There was, you know, people were staring, people taking pictures, people making comments, no matter what you look like. And, you know, it's gotten better for some of us, but it hasn't for all of us. And until it's gotten better for all of us,
Yeah.
it's not better.
Yeah, I hear you. During the pandemic, I believe it was in 2020, I walked into this store to buy a scarf, you know, and they would not allow me to go in. And of course, being black, the first thing that came to my mind, oh, it's because I'm black. Yeah. And I ended up doing a little video on it, and I actually cried in it. Yeah. And I sent
Yeah.
it to one of my friends, and they put it on a lot of the social medias in Beijing, and so it's not pretty sometimes to be different
Yeah.
and being like targeted and all that. And then the funny thing, during the pandemic, my principal and her two sons, they went to get the what is it, COVID test or something like that, and everybody was pushing them away, acting like they had COVID, and they speak Chinese, so they overheard them. Yeah, and so when she came to school, I was like, "Oh, wait a minute, you guys are white, and you get treated like that too."
Yeah.
So we
Just
just
being
compare.
any kind of foreigner during
Yeah,
2020
yeah,
was
yeah.
bad.
Yeah. So, Joey, 5 years from now, for example, or in the near future, where is your mind geared towards? What is your next adventure in terms of writing?
Well, I hope to have at least two more of the 6 books published. Currently, the one that I'm focusing on has to do with animals and the twins wandering into the woods, into a magical wood in the middle of Beijing and finding random animals. Again, animals that look different, that they've never seen before, that are unique to China.
Mhm.
And it's going to still focus on the inclusivity and accepting. But hopefully, having 2 of those published at least. And I just re enrolled in school for the 5th degree. This time I'm going
No,
back.
Joey, that's
Yeah.
too much.
Yeah, but I have a master's in history, which is
Okay.
the one that I use, right? But I'm going back to get a degree in elementary education. So I will have
What
that.
you're doing this online with an American university, right?
Right.
Which university is that?
Oh, I just signed up for them last night. WGU. And
WGU.
yes.
The reason I'm asking, because I'm shopping around for a university. This one here that I'm doing a PhD on is 3,000 American dollars per class. I'm like, oh my God, yeah. So I'm looking
Yeah.
for something more affordable.
Yeah. Well, the reason that I chose this one was they are taking more credits. So I'm able to roll over more credits and I can get my
Ah,
2.5 year degree a lot faster. So
I
that was the reason I
see.
chose this one.
Yeah. So you said that in terms of writing, you want to publish like 6 books.
Yeah, I want to get all of them. I want to get at least the next 2 published in the next 5 years. Hopefully all 6. See what happens. Yeah.
Okay. So for our listening audience, where can they find you? And I'm gonna, of course, send the links you sent to me. I'm gonna put it in the different groups for those that are interested. But anyone else listening right now, where can they find you?
The best place is on Amazon, looking up either one of the books, and then I have my author's page there. You can reach me at authorjoeymullen@gmail.com, and those should be linked in with the information that I gave you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Joey, for taking your time to come with us. And I'm so proud of you, Joey.
Amelia.
Yeah.
I want Joey on my program. I have a writers program on WhatsApp at the moment for aspiring writers. And I am inviting guest authors to come on and do the training with us and all that. So Joey, count yourself in. Thank you, Amelia, for allowing him to share his wonderful story. And we'd love to hear more from him. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
No problem. So Joey, I'm just like so proud of you. I had a student when I first started teaching. The little town was Crystal City, Texas. When I read about you not being good in math, the kid one day comes in and tells me, Miss Bywaters, I don't know anything about geometry, but I'm always looking forward to coming to your class. And here's a kid that didn't really like math. Geometry meant nothing. He couldn't prove any theorem in that class. But that doesn't mean that kid isn't going to grow up to be some successful person. So I'm sitting here going, wow,
Right.
Do not underestimate what a kid can do tomorrow just because in the classroom they can do mathematics and they can write sentences and things like that. You are an inspiration to myself, Joey. You really are.
Thank you.
And to many, 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 many students. And I'm so proud of you. I always love to speak to you. Now, I want to ask a special request for you to help me with some AI as a teacher.
All right.
If you can find some time in your busy time, then maybe we can meet and you can help me. I'll speak more to you privately on that.
Sure, no problem.
Thank you.
Thank
you. And have an amazing evening.
You too. That last part cut out.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.